Welcome back to another video. We got the Corvette torn apart again. It is Tuesday, which means we drove last Wednesday, so it's almost been a week since the event. The car did great. I didn't like the footage I really got of driving, so this last video there was basically no driving. However, the event went really well. I started out terrible. I did my first ever donut turning right, learned to transition in figure eights, and then just hit the grid, and then did the track for like the last half of the day and just got better and better each time. And I was doing pretty good. I was leading the whole track. I was feeling confident. I was kind of hitting clipping points, so it definitely went well for the first day, and I got a ton of laps. I probably did 30 to 40 laps, if not even more than that. The car did good. I had one upper control arm in here in the rear. The upper bolts came loose. Probably just my fault. I don't think I cranked them down enough when I had dropped the transmission. But this was my first set of tires. They're all donezo, so I got to get new tires on those. I'm going to put the front wheels on the back so I can use them, so I'm going to get new tires on those. I'll keep running these on front. I got another set here. And 255s for when I get better. Those are going to be way too grippy. This car is fast on the track. So I got to drive my friends. They both had LS2 C6s. One was on a Mini Mantis, one was on Wise Fab. And those cars drive so much different. Just, I mean, the power band from the LS2 to the LS3 and all sorts of stuff. So now I got my oil cooler in. This is a Grassroots LSX kit. So it's like universal but made for the LS. Real quick, it's a 19 row core, 2 inches thick, and then it comes with some AN lines, and it comes with the oil cooler adapter. It's AN fittings in and out. They just bolt up. It has a gasket and some hardware too for it. Ta-da! So my car actually had a factory oil cooler with it's a 3LT package car, so it had one, but I didn't know if it had one or not. But I mean, it's like you versus the guy she says not to worry about type shit. So I'm trying to fab up some stuff in here, which I was already working on, and decided I'm terrible at recording, so maybe I should record more. But basically, these are really ugly plates, and I literally just cut them with the angle grinder, so I'm going to clean them up and stuff. But pretty much, I'm going to bolt them into the stock lower radiator core support, which these should make it not risky. My Corvette friend said they've gone through multiple of these on the track, so we'll see how it goes. But basically, I'm going to utilize the factory hole here for the ducting and the wind guard. And I'll just throw these on top of the wind guard so it's still there. Basically bolt that up there, and it's gonna sit the core up like this, and I'll kind of angle it so it matches. I was thinking about just zip tying it through the condenser because I don't even use AC on this thing, so, but I probably shouldn't. So yeah, I'm gonna mount it up to the 2 factory holes here. Boom, boom, bolt it down, kind of rotate it back. I'll probably put some mesh, or not mesh, I have like some felt rubber stuff to help from like chafing metal on metal type shit, and maybe I'll just secure the top with some zip ties. That way it's just not flopping around. But we'll see how these seem pretty rigid, but once you get the weight on it and stuff, it's all gonna change. So yeah, gonna get this on. I may even drill out another hole. I got some riv nuts, so I might riv nut these plates just to give them something else to grab onto. But then I'm gonna have to drill into this too, so we'll see how it goes. But yeah, so that's pretty much the gist of what I'm working on. So I'm probably just gonna drill some holes, clean these up, get them mounted, and then I'll show you guys once it's mounted. I would love to record the process, but recording's hard with one person, dude. Like, this vlogging stuff ain't easy. But anyways, we'll see how this goes, and I could even use the factory holes, I think, right here to run the lines down. But we'll see. I might cut another hole and just run 2. I don't know. Alright, so after like some more cutting and fab, I was gonna like clean these up and make them look nice. Then I was like, well, they're gonna fit in front of the air dam anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So I started cutting one and didn't cut the other, but it's mounted up in there. I mean, it's pretty solid. Yeah, it moves a little bit, but like it's not gonna go bash on anything. So I was looking at the lines, and hopefully they're long enough. So they got to run around here, up in between the headers to the oil plate. So next, I'm about to drain the oil. It's a little update. I drilled more holes in the brackets because I had to actually move it to the driver's side in order for my lines to be long enough to fit. I also trimmed out some of the radiator ducting to get the lines to go through there on the side. Then I routed them the same as the stock cooler line. They're not done yet, so I'll clean them up. But before I installed the cooling plate, I figured I would show it to you. So basically, this just has holes on the back, bolts up right next to the oil filter on the side there. And both of these, this sits upwards, so these point a little bit downwards. People made a comment that they had headers and they had problems with it, but I got plenty of room around the headers for the line specifically. It's getting these bolts in and getting everything to line up and getting a tool on the bolts is what's a little bit difficult. I'm sure I'll figure it out. So if you're doing this, definitely would recommend doing it without your headers on, but I can't really pull mine. So basically gonna bolt this up, make the line sit a little nicer, and kind of see. I mean, hopefully it's good to go after that. Hopefully it seals and everything's good and tight. So I'm gonna tighten up these two fittings, then we're gonna shove it up there, try to get it in, and see if it works. All right, next update, we have the oil cooler fully mounted. I had to switch sides on it. I know those brackets look really ugly, but this all gets covered by the bumper. So it should just be perfectly in the air duct. This kit for the C6 was a little tight. I had to move the oil cooler to the driver's side because the lines weren't long enough for the passenger side. And yeah, they're in there, they're pretty tight. I got it all in and torqued down, put a new filter on, torqued the drain bolt, try to wipe some oil off the headers from my fingerprints and stuff, wipe down the oil pan and cradle and things. Got to put this front sway bar back on because I had to drop that because I finally installed the FDF steering rack bracket, but only like partly. So you can see that little FDF logo down there, right where it's shining. The brace, so pretty much it just took out the factory bolt that just went through the two little ears on from the subframe, and I put the brace on it. So I bolted the brace to it, and then I like clamped the rack to the brace. You're supposed to also put on solid bushings on the inside instead of the rubber bushing. But I'll be honest, if you want to get that brace and you want to do this, probably not really going to happen without pulling a ton of stuff, like potentially all of your radiator and everything, like the whole front end or the motor, so you can actually pull the rack off to do it. Don't think you're going to get it done while it's in the car. It's probably definitely possible, which reminds me, I still need to tighten this side of the rack bolt because I loosened it because I thought I was going to be able to prop it up, but I didn't. But yeah, like if you pull tie rods and loosen the rack and move the coolers and do all that stuff, drop the subframe, whatever, it's probably possible, but definitely wouldn't try to do it on the ground, and I just wouldn't try to do it with everything in the car. So maybe next winter if I go to pull this motor to refresh it, reseal it and stuff, because it's leaking. I think the front main and the rear main leak, and just a handful of things. So after the whole race season, I'll definitely probably be pulling it to refresh it. But anyways, when I do that, I'll put the solid bushings in. But for now, it's a little bit extra, help keep the rack in place. There's probably not going to be too much movement on that factory bushing. This car's not that old. I only got like, I think 74,000 miles on it. So like I said, not too big of a deal, but I got that rack on, the brace, and got the oil cooler on. I put oil in it, new filter, torqued it. That oil was pretty dirty for one event. I don't know. It didn't like look bad. Like it wasn't all full of metallic and stuff. And it might have just looked super dirty because I changed this engine has a lot of blow by. I think I've said that before in my videos. I just don't think the builders did the rings right. But anyways, I had plumbed my catch can into my intake, and I mean, oil was blowing out of the exhaust pipe, like the whole rear of my bumper. Let's see if you guys can tell. Like, this is all covered in like oil residue. Just from, I mean, that's my only assumption. I overfilled it to try to help keep it cool. I mean, it's not like it was overheating, but just to help. So I overfilled it and I plumbed it to the intake, and I don't think it liked that. So you guys probably have a bunch of spots on your, anyways. Yeah, so another tip, what I'm gonna do is I just pulled this catch can apart for the first time, and it's empty. So when you have like these cheap catch cans and they come with nothing like this, it's just all open, and then that's the inside, literally just open. The cheat code is go to your local grocery store, Walmart, Fred Meyer's, whatever, wherever you may live, Publix, and get a loofah. They're like less than $5, like the little scrubby thingy you clean yourself with in the shower, unless you're nasty. But anyways, yeah, get one of those and cut it up, tear it up into pieces, and you basically throw the mesh in there, and it'll help catch the gunk and help filter out, basically keep the oil down as the air comes out. So yeah, if you have a cheap catch can, stuff a loofah in there. Not the full thing, like I said, cut it up, shred it up. Not like paper shreds, but like when you pull them apart, they're layered. So anyways, if you try it, you'll know what I'm talking about. But yeah, so fill the catch can. So I'm gonna do that tomorrow. Like I said, I filled it with oil. I put like 6 quarts in it, which is what these take factory. I put that oil cooler on it, so I'm sure once I cycle it and pressurize everything, I'll have to top it off, which is fine. Because I also want to run it through the gear to see if this rear diff axle seal is going to leak again, because it was leaking after my hour drive to the track last event, and that was pretty dumb. I did buy a new one, but I really don't want to do it. So I'm going to see if it leaks. If it doesn't leak, cool. If it does leak, before I take the car off jacks, I'll bust it out. It shouldn't be too bad. I just really don't want to mess up my alignment, but I think it'll be good. I think on the rear, I just got to pull the upper control arm, the coil over, and then I can fold all this out enough to pop the axle out, throw it to the side, do the seal, pop it back in, hopefully not lose too much fluid, because factory rear diff fluid for this car is a lot. I want to say I spent over $150, $160 or some shit, $200. I don't even remember at this point. It was pretty expensive just to do a rear diff service. The factory stuff's like, yeah, $40, $50, $60 a quart or something. And I think it takes 2.5. But either way, she's coming along. Hopefully tomorrow, if I work on it, I'll have the whole thing back together. I'll go buy a loofah. I will run it in the air for the rear end, top off the oil, and throw this front bumper on and see how it does. I'm excited for this oil cooler, and now that I know that I have one, so I thought I had one but didn't really know, so I wasn't like when it was hot, I was mostly idling the car to let the coolant cool. I wasn't really like doing cool down laps or nothing. Also, the way our track was laid out wasn't really just like, I mean, I could have definitely just drove it, but either way, it wasn't cooling down and idle. So I pretty much had to idle it for 10-15 minutes, make sure that the coolant would cool itself down and not boil over after I shut it off. Then shut the car off for another 10-15 to let the oil come down, the oil temperature. But we're going to see how this does. I think it'll do pretty good. Like, I mean, it's 2 if not 3 times the size of the factory cooler, so it'll move a lot more fluid. There's a lot more I guess volume is the word I was looking for. I was going to say velocity. A lot more volume of fluid moving through the cooler too, so it should definitely help, especially while driving. Eventually I might get a little fan for it. So I went to the store and bought a loofah, whatever, ripped it up, put it in there. DIY air filtrado, baby. So about to seal that up, I guess start the car up. I just got back from Wasilla, so I'm getting tires from Logan. So I ended up putting tires on my front wheels that are originally for this car, which I'm just probably gonna run on the back, 245s. And then I also put 245s on the ESRs that I ran last event and burned the tires off of. So get those unloaded. I still got to figure out some tires for these, which still might. Okay, so here's the thing. I don't have another set of front tires, which I've probably already explained this. Which, couple things. One, for this event, I could still run my friend's wheels on the front, but at the same time I also kind of need to burn these off so that he can put new tires on them for the event for Memorial Day weekend. So if I run those on front all day, they're not going to get burnt up. I don't know. But my other wheels are technically my only fronts, but I want to put the R888s on them, but I don't want to get rained out of the event. So if I could find another set of wheels to fit the front, which technically my front wheels would if I put on fucking 2-inch spacers. And with 2-inch spacers, I'll probably need to cut fenders. So I debatably could use another set of wheels for the front, but also probably not. But I don't know. I don't know what to do. Don't know what to do. I just need to get a set of wheels that actually fits the front. That's what I need to do. But anyways, so I might not mess with those wheels because I should have plenty this weekend. I got to finish up the BMW wheels. I have a set there, pair, set, whatever, and then 2 more pairs there. So I have 6 brand new tires, a set of old tires. But this is the thing too, if I put the R888s on the BMW wheels, I can put the BMW wheels tires on these, which technically gives me 10 tires to use. 12 if you count the BMW, the Mason's wheels. But I don't know. Anyways, I'm gonna unload the car, and you guys are probably looked all smudged up. And then I'm gonna start this thing up and see if she's all good. Top off fluids, make sure nothing leaks. Yeah, we'll see. Oh, everything is on and should be good and tight. Hopefully I don't rattle off of these jack stands, but we'll start it up and check for leaks and see what happens. cycle, warm up for a bit, and then double torque. Cause I put a lot of new like rubber gaskets and seals on it. So let those heat cycle and then get a little soft and then re-torque them. Make sure that we're all good. And then I'm probably gonna put it in gear here and run the wheels soon. See if I get the transmission or rear diff to leak.